pledge allegiance to the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, on roll call, Mr. Ayer.
Here.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Here.
Dr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Van Stone.
Here.
Mr. York.
Here.
All right, any question regarding the minutes? We have two sets of minutes this time. We have July 22nd, the special meeting from the 24th. Are we going to do them separate?
You don't have to.
Okay, we're going to combine them. Any questions? Any questions regarding the minutes? No minutes? We all good? All right, a motion is second to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. That's both sets. All right, in communications, Assistant Fire Chief, Mr. Copeland, we back there? Okay, any remarks, comments about the, your report?
Where's it?
Any, guys, any questions? No? All right. Kind of straightforward. Ben James. Yes, there we are, sir. Any comments about your report?
Yes, sir.
Kind of straightforward. I was speaking to the group a little bit earlier about what a fantastic job you're doing down there at the maintenance facility. Organizing it, cleaning it up. I mean, it looks like a different place. And you've been very helpful to me in sort of setting up my temporary workshop up there to do the trellis work. I know I'm making a mess up there with sawdust everywhere, but we'll get it cleaned up.
Good job, man.
Yeah, very good job.
Well done.
All right, Mr. Barlow. I know you're, any questions?
I will say, if you notice the projection, how we're kind of up and down a little bit, that's because the projected numbers still hold percentages from a couple of years from COVID, where the due date was, I believe, July in 2020, and in 21 was May. So going forward, you're going to see things get a little more in line, because those anomalous years will be dropping off the projection percentage that we use.
Okay. So in terms of collect, we're pretty much on track there for the year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still up, like, as of today, we're up right around 312,000 compared to last year, so hopefully we'll hold on to it.
Okay.
But as far as like, so beating last year, you can look at that, but if you look at projection, it does kind of, it seems goofy, like all of a sudden these spikes. But again, the first 2 years and the 4-year percentage were COVID years, so it's throwing things off a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll get a little, it'll normalize here. God forbid another, something like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you much.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Holloway. Would you like to give commentary about your report? Answer any questions? Do we have any questions?
I think the only comment I wanted to make is that both June and July, there was quite a bit of hours spent supporting administrative tasks associated with records requests that detracted from my ability to do a lot of compliance work. Don't know if it's going to end anytime soon. There's still a backlog that we're working through in records requests.
What is the source of the records request?
There's a resident who's asking a lot of questions. It's a very broad records request. Some of them deal specifically with permits. Some of them deal with different protocols. Some of them deal with the fire safety protocols. Some of them deal with different protocols about police and whatnot. So just organizing that's a big chunk of work.
Okay. So this is one resident doing this?
That's correct.
Well, you're certainly doing a yeoman's job of it. I commend you for it.
It's
Thank you.
As do I.
Ed, do you have any recommendations when entities are in this situation,
On the records request?
just being drowned with records requests?
Yeah, they're very difficult to turn down, I can tell you.
Sure.
I've certainly been working with Rod step by step on all these records requests, and I've kind of given him a roadmap as to how to answer a lot of them. A lot of them, frankly, are not what I would call records requests, but more questions about our policies and procedures here in the village of Mariemont. And so with that said, the responses are not a pure records request, but we want to try to comply with this individual as best we can. But
Yeah.
it's taken time, but you have to be so careful on these records requests because the law allows you a reasonable period of time to respond, and some people have different definitions as to what reasonable is. But
Sure.
we're on top of it right now, aren't we, Rod?
For now.
For now, right?
Yeah, for now.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
All right, it looks like we have a couple of spending requests here. Is the Kleinger's payment. This was the additional fee to relocate the two utilities in Dogwood Park as part of the Dogwood Park renovation project.
Yeah, the engineering work.
And engineering work, yeah. Any additional questions about that? No, pretty much know what that is. Okay. Motion and a second then to accept.
So moved.
Second?
I'm sorry, who? Okay.
Did we get a second?
Matt. Matt.
All right, Mr. Ayer,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone,
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. That's that. All right, then we have another one. This is this is the partial payment one. I think we all know what this is. This is on the original Kleinger's contract.
Right.
Yeah. All right, a motion and a second to do that.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Second. Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, that takes care of that. Okay, permission to address council. It looks like we have a good group in here tonight. I'm sure some of you wish to speak. Who wants to be first? Come on, don't be shy. I know somebody wants to talk. Could you come to the podium there, please, and state your name and address, please?
Hopefully I can read my notes on this. My name's Lila Wells, and I live at 3700 Pleasant Street. So I'm just here to express concerns about the proposed installment of the concrete walking path around the perimeter of Dogwood Park as part of the Centennial Project. And I can appreciate the intentions behind improving the park and the efforts in acquiring all the funding. But I believe the path, this path would not be in the best interest of preserving our park's historic design and its natural simplicity. There was a lot of opposition about the path at the final public hearing last fall, that others and myself understood that it was going to be removed from the plan. So I was very surprised that it was passed in June according to the council minutes, and it also was expanded to 6 feet wide. So I talked with several different members of the committee, different committees, and who were opposed to the path but didn't feel comfortable coming forward to speak out against it. So I decided to see who else in the community would be opposed to the path, and the vast majority of the residents that I spoke to agreed. And some of the questions that they had for me that I wrote down, these are quotes. Why more concrete? Aren't we a tree city? What if someone gets hit by a baseball while they're walking? What about increased maintenance costs, including leaf and snow removal? What if someone slips on the ice? Our park is already small, why make it smaller? Where will the cross-country team do grass workouts? These are just a few of the concerns that people voiced. And so in about a week, I was able to attain 100 signatures from people of all ages, residents. So I'm here asking council on behalf of all these people to reconsider this part of the plan. According to a tree board member, the trees all around the perimeter of the park are going to be jeopardized, including one of the largest of its type in Hamilton County. However, I couldn't find an arborist report on the public record. The park's 100-year design has endured this far, and it did not include a concrete sidewalk. I and countless others have managed to get their kids to the playground and to the park using the sidewalk across the street on Pleasant Street. So why would we add this small convenience at the expense of trees and birds and the grass and the aesthetic of the park? It's a nature preserve and a bird sanctuary, after all. The parking lot expansion is already using green space, trees, and moving the softball field, but at least it's addressing a safety issue where by creating a drop-off zone. But in order to do the perimeter concrete, all the ball fields are going to be moving towards the center and reducing the center field size. Accessibility to the back corner ball field could be solved by an alternative natural ADA-approved material like crushed stone or tree mulch. So I'm not opposed to improvement or progress. I'm just trying to salvage what little green space we have and preserve the park's historic design. Mariemont's strength lies in preserving, in historic preservation. The rest of the Centennial Project involves a lot of changes already, so let's just take a step back, because once it's done, it's done. Please reconsider and remove the concrete walking path as part of the Dogwood Park Centennial Project.
Lila,
Thanks.
can I give you this? Do you mind to email that to me? I'd like to have a
I
hard
would
copy.
if I could get my computer to work, so that's why I'm using my phone. I had to take a screenshot,
Okay.
but I'll try to, yeah.
Okay.
Can I, were you able to attend a couple of the meetings, where the plans, the overall
the public hearing
conceptual
meetings?
Yeah.
plans were presented?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think, I have two of them. I don't know how many there were, but
Uh-huh. At the Mariemont Elementary?
yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah, in the fall. Mhm.
Okay.
I saw her, they're all vouched for.
Well, I mean, did you voice those objections there as well?
Right, yeah, there was a lot of people at the last one that were concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, seemed like a big majority of the people that were there
Okay.
were concerned. And then Jen Durberger, or Durgerberg, sorry, she spoke in front of the council in September as well.
I believe she did, yeah, she did, okay. And do we have that, do we have that list, are we getting that list?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can drop it off or if you,
You
I'll
mean
need a
the
copy.
name, the list of names? Oh,
Yes, and if you
Yeah.
have a narrative of what you just said?
yes.
Okay, if you need help, I can help you with that tomorrow. If
Okay,
you want
yeah,
to send it
we'll
to my
figure it
email.
out.
Okay.
Our Wi-Fi was out, so. I
Okay.
have to
If you want
work
to stop
at
in
an
tomorrow, I
inconvenient
can help
time,
you.
so.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Ben.
I would like to, just a second, that was Greg Wells, 3700 Pleasant Street. That was my wife, Lila. But I would like to second about that, to urge the council to just pause on moving ahead with all the concrete that we're looking at now. I'll ask Marcy, did you used to pack all your kids up and drive over to the park for those baseball and soccer games?
We rode bikes, or walked, but yeah.
Yeah. Randy?
Sure.
Walked. And, what it feels like we're doing is expanding this concrete footprint for people that drive into Mariemont from outside. And, we're losing our green space, and we just don't have a lot of it. And we're losing it because we want to make it easier for those people that come into the community. And it's just, today I walked out and looked at the overall footprint. The parking lot itself is going to be massive. I mean, it is massive. And there's no really need for that. You could probably achieve most of those spaces without going so deep into the park by just putting them on one side of the parking lot. I understand being able to make it easy to get in and out, but there's a lot of other ways without massive expansion of concrete.
Well, I mean, you are aware, I mean, parking over there is it's just, on game
Everywhere.
days, it's,
But adding those spaces isn't going to solve the problem. It's not. And from what I understand, is they're increasing the amount of baseball over there by like 50% by making it the home field for 6 other communities. So this isn't going to change it. It just is taking our park away for the residents. So I really, and I'll quote a few things like increased cancer when communities live by high traffic roadways like Worcester Park. We need those trees. It's important. There's a lady in Hyde Park that did a national push for a study that showed how brain development was impacted for kids that didn't have green space, walking around on concrete all the time. So these are big things, and we should just look at it again. And we're not coming late. We voiced our concerns. I wish we would have been part of it and asked to be part of it, but even though we've been on the street longest, but we weren't.
Sure.
So,
sure.
but I'd like to have the council think about it.
Is it mainly just the concrete that you're objecting to? I mean,
I mean,
there's a
that's
lot of
the
other
thing.
improvements that are being planned there. I mean,
Yeah.
regrading the fields and new fencing and backstops and, I mean,
It all changes
yeah, right.
what we're used to.
Yeah.
But, we understand progress if that's what the community wants, but definitely not going to have the same feel.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah. So, thank you all.
Yeah, Thank you.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel the same way about the walkway from Worcester up to Chestnut through Dale Park, where the new sidewalk is proposed?
I haven't looked at that, but, green space is green space for a small community. So, the beautiful thing about this neighborhood is people walk around all the time, and they love walking in the street, up and down. And I was on Chief Hines can say, I don't know, I don't think there's been any accidents hitting pedestrians, and we all love it. That's the beautiful thing about it. I just don't want that taken away. I've been in the community for 27 years or so. And, even South 80 now, there's a lot of traffic that goes by our house, heading to South 80 with 5 or 6 dogs in the car. And so, I mean, the more we do, the more people come in there. That's my walk off.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
I'm gonna change the topic, so if you're on. So am I. Okay.
Well, can I comment on, Greg and Lila, I'm sorry that you feel this way, because when we started this, I know that I had sent out flyers, and maybe you didn't see it. I had some meetings with the residents of Pleasant, and we wanted, you see it every day, we wanted you to be happy when you looked at it. So we engaged Mariemont Preschool Parents from the very beginning, the Mariemont Recreation Association from the very beginning, Mariemont School District from the very beginning, and they've all endorsed this plan. So I know that when we had the meeting, we did at that point come back and reduce it from 6 foot to 5 foot. Then we had a committee meeting where they wanted to go back to 6 foot, but we did request that Kleiners do a 5 foot and a 6 foot, so that we can look at that. I went hard in the paint on this project. This is something we wanted to do. This is something I wanted to give to the village. You guys know that I've been working on this, and you're not going to have consensus for anything. My hope is that as stewards during the centennial, we're doing the right thing. I appreciate your concerns. I look forward to them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I will say, I hate to say it, we weren't engaged. We engaged, and you were really nice to help us out all the time, but we didn't get emails. I've had to get them from other people. Maybe you just dropped the flyer off, I didn't see it. But, and I'm not saying this, but I'm just saying that, and you've done a great job, and that's what, we want council members to do, is to drive these things. But it's just a lot of concrete. We've talked to so many people now that, there were hardly any that said, hey, we want that, when we are out talking to people. And so it's just, I just say, You know, once you take that grass away, you're not getting it back. You can walk through, you know, where you go to the boathouse and walk those trails. There's all kinds of concrete that just got left behind. Once concrete goes in, it doesn't come back out. And that's what is gonna happen like that. And we're gonna have the concrete part and, you know, it'll take maintenance and, you know, we've got parking now for people to come in from outside, but why do we need that? I don't know.
Well, on the parking lot, it's not up to code. So
No, I-
if we were gonna mess with the parking, and we wanted to do an in and out.
Yeah, I
So
agree
folks
with
would
all
do that on,
I don't think we needed both sides, is all I'm saying. Where you have to go another 15 feet into the park with it.
Just two parking on one side.
Yeah.
Well, and the reference to the other green space, I'm not exactly familiar with that, but this is like, when you think of Mariemont, you think of Dogwood Park, and I appreciate all your efforts, truly, and it's not anything personal at all.
sure.
You know, and but, when you think of Mariemont, Dogwood Park and the bell tower, I mean, that's our the iconic spot. And, it's so pleasant to have, you know, you just step from the street onto grass. And when you drive around Blue Ash and other places that are newer, it has the look with the landscape walk path and everything, and it just doesn't have the charm that Mariemont has, and we need to preserve that. And so, you know.
I will say real quick, just, you know, when we left the meeting in the fall, we really did think that there was gonna be another formal proposal without a sidewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly, everybody there felt that. And then, you know, all of a sudden, it's voted on, it's done. So it just didn't feel like it was not, we weren't saying make it smaller. We never said that. Everybody at that meeting wanted to see it just removed, where you left the grass there. But I don't know whatever happened to that.
I don't know what kind of latitude we have at this point, honestly. You know, we did get considerable amount of outside funding for this. There's no conditions to it. We have to put up a 9.5 by 12-inch sign. So it's not like there's a lot of conditions to it. So I don't know what kind of latitude, you know, it's been in the town crier 10 times. It's been on our website for 2 years. We've had concept boards at Taste of Mariemont and at Kiwanis. And again, I've got 18 letters of recommendation from just about everybody for this project.
Those are people that aren't from here, though, that don't appreciate necessarily the history behind the park, but.
I think they are from here, because it's
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
preservation,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
they're all.
Oh, I thought you meant the.
Mariemont Preservation Foundation, Mary Elders, Mariemont Preschool Parents Group, Mariemont Town Crier, Mariemont Legacy Foundation, Mariemont City Schools, the Village of Mariemont, Mariemont Recreation Association, Garden Club of Mariemont, Mariemont Centennial Committee, and Mariemont Tree Board.
Well, can I ask one thing? Has anybody ever put flags in over there so people could actually see what was about to happen?
Yeah, because
Because it's a lot of concrete. I
I
mean,
talked
it's
to
a lot
people
of
on
concrete.
all those, several of those committees that are opposed to it, but aren't willing to step forward.
I think,
So
didn't
that
we?
was why I felt.
I mean, because that would
was
be
good.
huge for a community to see.
I think there were renderings, I mean, that were presented at the two meetings of, you know, the
Yeah.
overall sort of an aerial of what it was gonna look like,
Well,
to scale.
Thinking that was being removed, or gonna,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say removed, but at least a formal proposal
Mhm.
made not to have it.
Right, right.
But,
Yeah, I'm not
we just wanted to speak.
sure,
you know,
What's the
on
purpose
behalf
of the sidewalk?
People that say that.
yeah.
What's the purpose?
It's a loop trail.
Why do we need that?
No, it's a loop trail. Seniors like it, and you cannot access the back. If you have any kind of mobility issue, you can't access that back ball field.
I don't know.
Could you
Doesn't
stand
feel
up,
right.
please? Could you stand up and tell us your name, please?
Oh, sure, I was just asking a question.
It's all right.
Well,
I'm Jerry Stevens. I live at 3709 Center Street. So, yeah, I signed a petition because I haven't been involved in all of this, but I do believe that it's quite a bit of landscape that we're taking away with that project. So, including, I did look at the visuals, by the way, when they came out. So I've looked at everything as it's come out, been on the website. But it just feels like a lot. yeah, it does feel like a lot of concrete that's going back there. And he's right. Once it goes in, it's in. So, and it's never too late to do the right thing. So whatever that is. So yeah, that was all my comment, because it just feels like it's unnecessary, right? Having a loop there is very unnecessary. I have 5 kids. We've been to ball games. We walk the trail still. Take my dog there still. It's unnecessary. So that's my point.
Well, there's no doubt that we're gonna have a lot of people come into the community just to walk that path. And from outside, maybe even see your homes or sending buses down.
Okay. Sir, go ahead.
Okay, I'm John Kyle. I live at 4400 Plainville Road. I first moved into Mariemont in December of 1945. And I lived in the village. I live outside the village now, but I lived in the village until 2001. And I didn't come to plan to talk about this at all, but when I first saw this rendition out in front of this building a year ago or so, I was against it. I feel that, like them, putting concrete in, putting a concrete path from Worcester Pike to Chestnut, have we had a safety problem? There's a question. Has anybody been hurt on there? I just feel that we're, like they said, I grew up here. I played baseball. I played pee-wee football on those fields. I broke an arm on those fields. Okay, so I just feel that making it more commercial is not the thing. Parking, I think, would be a good thing, but a sidewalk around the whole place, not necessary. I've walked those woods. I've walked everything. I was here before they put the tunnel out there where the creek came down from the road, and we threw rocks in the creek and walked through the tunnel as a kid. Actually climbed up, there's a sewer lid, and we used to go up there and pop it in the middle of the road. We did all those things, and I don't think that we need to change the community just for change. I think if there's going to be a change, it should be based on a safety need.
Well, sir, I mean, a number of the projects that are being proposed are sort of based on, not only safety, but better drainage and better leveling of the field, better fencing, things of that nature, and of course, adding to the parking. I mean, I know it's never going to solve the problem over there, but it's a step.
Well, like I said, I didn't come prepared to talk about this, but
Okay.
Having been a resident for probably longer than anybody in this room right now, I thought I should say what I wanted to say.
Sure, oh, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Paul, I think you were on the cusp of. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
This is concerning the proposed wall. So I'm Steve Pitkin, Tree Board, Park Board. Not a voting member of Tree Board because I've been on long enough, so I did not vote on this issue. The only thing that I want to make sure is that the feel of the green space in that park is maintained. And if we construct a peripheral concrete sidewalk around there, you're going to get into what's called the critical root zone of a lot of these larger trees. So let's say you have a tree that's 48-inch diameter base height or breast height. So if it's a 48-inch diameter breast height tree, that means the critical root zone is going to be 48 feet. That means 48 feet from the base of that tree is where the critical root zone is. Now, you can impinge upon that critical root zone up to about halfway, and which is, hey, that's kind of a industry-wide guideline. And the reason why they say you can impinge upon that halfway is you don't want to get into the zone where the scaffolding roots are. The scaffolding roots are closest to the tree. So there are a few trees that would really be impacted by a concrete walkway. There is a huge pin oak that I can decline already. There is a whole bunch of, along the ravine side, there are a bunch of larger maples and larger tulip poplars, which are really big. And one of the problems with constructing a walkway at the top of that ravine So let's say it's at the top of the ravine, and it might be only 20 feet from that tree. Well, the way trees grow on a slope is the roots that really anchor that tree and give it the most stability are the uphill roots. So if you're impacting those uphill roots, you're gonna create more stress in that tree. And as Jeff Shoney said, I won't speak for Jeff Shoney, but there's a possibility, we could lose some trees if we do that. The only thing I was going to mention is consider the possibility, maybe not have all of that walkway paved. Maybe have some of it be crushed stone, ADA compliant. There are ways to do that. The Cincinnati Nature Center has done a nice job with crushed stone ADA compliant, which also happens to be cheaper than concrete. So something to consider, that's all. I know it's kind of late in the game to consider this, and I know I'm coming to you guys late with this information, but it's something I think you guys maybe should consider.
If you do lose those trees in the ravine, do you end up having a lot more erosion happening?
So the problem with that ravine, and I used to work for Geotechnical Engineering Company, and the problem with that ravine is partially erosion, also slope stability. And losing those trees really wouldn't help slope stability. That's more of a function of particle size in the soil. So it would affect erosion a little bit, only in areas that are already prone to erosion. I mean, there are some natural swales where there's some erosion happening, but if it's not already in a natural swale, personally, in my opinion, I don't think it would impact it.
Yeah, my name is Paul Mace. I live at 6639 Elm Street. I'm actually not here to talk about the bell tower tonight. I'm clearly aware of what's going on. I was involved for the Mariemont Preservation, which I'm fully support, but not a member anymore, so I don't think it's appropriate I talk about this time. But I am here to talk about Patriots Park. I'm a resident, again, on Elm Street that backs up to the park. It's a beautiful park. I grew up on Wooster Pike. I played there. My kids played there. I believe you all are going to speak about funding to that park tonight. Last night, we have a monthly, we call it Sunday Fun Day outside, and I believe there's 26 children under the age of 16 that currently live back there. So I'd ask the council to consider the funding that is being considered. It's definitely well used by us as residents. There's probably two things I'd want you to hear. We did talk to Randy and Matt and Ben and Bill. You were out there, which might seem unusual, but one is the blacktop pad, which is a little bit different. That we do actually utilize the blacktop. It would be great if it was repaved. It's kind of a gathering point for us. And then the other one is there is a group of honeysuckle, and I'm quite aware that honeysuckle is an invasive species, but kids, including myself, for generations have been climbing on it. We had asked that it not be removed, and I know we had that discussion with you out there. I know there'll be a number of evaluation of the other trees. We trust that it'll be done professionally, and that you'll be considering adding trees. And just want you to hope that you consider passing the request to fund the upgrades of Patriots Park.
Well, we did talk about that earlier tonight, and I think that we're definitely going to be moving forward with some of these improvements for sure. There's a little bit of a debate as to how the proper treatment for that pad that's out there. I think this condition is beyond amendment. It needs to be completely restored. So I'm not entirely certain. Something is definitely going to be done, with it. So.
Yeah, I think I just would request, if the thing is to be done, if you talk to the village residents, which you did, we would rather you leave it as is than tear it out.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about if it's torn out. I'm talking about so that it can be properly replaced.
No, thank
that's
you.
all.
Yes, no, we would
to
appreciate it
eliminate
being
it.
upgraded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had some discussion in our meeting before this about, do you do a quick fix that's going to last 10 years, or do you fix it so it's going to last 25, 30 years?
Yeah.
And, I was leaning toward a proper fix. But
That'd be great. Yeah. I won't say my
But
age, but it's been there at least that long.
And it
So-
looks it.
Yes. Well, look, but thank you. Yes. Yeah. This was discussed at the meeting prior to that. Okay, great.
You're aging better than the pad.
Katie might say something. All right, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul.
Zach Jansen, live at 6620 Wooster Pike, directly across from Paul, and I'll just reiterate, all the points that he made we also feel similar to, is that pad is a good gathering place. Same sentiment on the honeysuckle as well. I moved in 2 years ago. I'm one of the 2 kids that are under the age of 18, 26 back there, or something, whatever the statistic was that Paul said. And my 3-year-old daughter and a lot of her friends that are back there do enjoy playing back in that area. It kind of gives them a little bit of a playground area, a place to play hide and seek. It might be invasive, but it seems like it's been there longer than Paul has. So
It's a nice area. Yeah, it's a great area.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's nice. It's something of a break. Gives them some engagement. Something that's a little bit different than just, a tree that they can sit under.
Sure.
Lets them play. So just wanted to reiterate Paul's points.
Great, okay, thank you, thank you. All right. Sid?
I'm not used to being last.
We're not sure you are.
I'm sure you are, that's right.
And I really had something to say, but I'm gonna basically sum it up in that I was very surprised this morning when there were workmen out there pounding stakes into Trial Line Park. So I guess all my arguments are moot. But there are many people that are discouraged that once we wanted a meeting, which was more or less promised by Mr. Ayer back in January, February, didn't get it. So we've basically been dismissed as we don't matter.
No, Sid, no,
We
that
don't
is,
matter.
that is not true. I mean,
That-
I think a
that
great
is
deal of
the
effort has
sum
been
of it.
made here to address and listen to your concerns about the park. But as Mr. York said earlier, I mean, we're not gonna, not everyone is gonna be in agreement about that project, that's for sure. And it would be my hope and my expectation that once it moves forward and it's in place and landscaping is all there, I mean, we had the same objections on Murray Path. And now, I mean, almost uniformly, people, like what was done there after they see the finished product. And I do believe that Mr. Ayer did, I mean, he did make an attempt to address your concerns, did he not?
Well, we held multiple public meetings, too.
We did do that.
And
There was a request earlier this year to have meetings, and he said, yes, we're gonna have them on the connector and the intersection at Miami. They didn't come about, did they?
Well, the intersection is yet to be decided.
yeah, there's still more to come with the intersection, so.
There will be
Well,
meetings.
I'm just saying, our request to be heard has been ignored.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
We actually made changes to the plans that you recommended. Because you got a great idea about taking the hive off and straightening it out, and that's now incorporated into some of the base plan.
Well, that's
You
not-
also recommended closing the part of Rembolt right next to your house, and that's also been incorporated as a part of the plan, so.
Well, that's part of the Miami plan, not the
Well, but it's
connector.
been built into the plan, is because you provided that
Well.
feedback at those meetings. So I agree with Bill. It feels like, we've had multiple meetings, we have listened to people, we've made changes to the plans based on the feedback that people have provided.
We are holding the pathway, I mean, slightly more to the northern edge of the median to accommodate a couple of 2 very large remaining green spaces, where it would be there should be no difficulty in playing a pickup football game or anything else that you'd still want to do in the park, on the lawn
Well,
area, so to speak.
I'm just saying that they've got 4 feet of concrete to worry about. We've got 12 feet of blacktop. So our green space, huh?
6 feet.
We have 12, not 6.
It's 11, but
So our green space is about to disappear.
Not entirely, there'll be a lot of green space
Not
left.
entirely, but,
Matt,
the usable spot, part of it is minimized.
how wide is Murray Path?
10 feet.
10 feet.
And
You
is
know,
this gonna be
I had a
11?
suggestion back in December. Why not do what should have been done when they built the high school and put a sidewalk along Hiawatha? You know, 4 or 5 foot sidewalk.
Right.
That would have taken care of all the problems. It would have provided pedestrian safety and everything. I guess that's too radical. So, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Sid. Thank you. Anyone else? No? You're good?
I have a question, but I'll ask somebody else.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Bill, I just want to, is it appropriate time for me to make a comment to, couple comments about what Lila said and also a suggestion?
Please.
Okay, first of all, I was at that meeting in the fall as well, and my recollection was it was gonna be looked at to maybe not include the path. I don't know what happened after that, but that is my recollection as well. The other thing I am concerned about, and we talked about this a little bit, our parks are landmarks. So I really feel strongly, whether it's a structure or a path, if it's going in a park, it needs to be approved by the ARB. I think that right now I don't know if it says specifically structures, but I think it's worth asking the question, do we want to have that extra step in, given that these are as important legacies as they are?
Well, that point has been raised before. I mean, the whole issue of whether I believe it came up with Murray Path, whether or not, it should have, that should have been before the ARB. I think the gray area there is the word structure. And,
Well, I wouldn't say the Murray Path was a park. That was a right of way.
well, it's still a green space. I mean, it's a green space, and I believe it's, any green space is considered a park. I mean, it's some technical thing like that. But in any event, the sticking point would be, like I said, the term structure. We're not really building, I don't believe roadway or a pathway constitutes a structure if I'm interpreting the code correctly.
Well, then I would say we should re-examine the code and look at changing that, because I think that it's a permanent improvement to how that was designed by John Nolan that should have been evaluated by the ARB.
Well, are you suggesting then that that's something that we should stop construction? And
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, look, moving forward, I think any change to a park, regardless of whether it's a flat structure or a structure that rises, should be, we at least look at that, at least look at our code and see if the Rules and Law Committee recommends that that change be made. That's what I'm saying.
There's not been any construction, so it's all green if we're talking about across the street at Copper Park. So, there's still plenty of time.
Yeah,
I
true.
wouldn't think there's plenty.
I wouldn't say there's plenty of time. Susan, is this something that you think we could look at?
Could I hear just a little bit more on the pluses and minuses of doing that? I'm not adverse to it, but I would just like to get some feedback on that.
Well, I don't think it's something we need to discuss further right at this moment. So this is a topic that we can, talk after the meeting or next couple of days, something like that. Try to put together, the finer points of doing it or not doing it. Is that, agreeable? Is that agreeable?
I want to make sure Mr. Holloway, since he's the enforcer, is involved in those discussions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Some more administrative-
Mr. Holloway will be involved.
So are you referring that matter to rules and law? Or
Right,
is it
that's the
just a-
question.
Well,
I can't-
sound like
I
you wanted
can't
to
hear.
talk about it.
I'd rather.
Everybody's talking.
Yeah, I wanted to work out the details as to, whether or not.
So you're not officially putting it there yet?
Not officially putting it there yet, no.
Okay.
No.
As a member of ARB, when it comes to changes to the historical code, I think that it would be logical for that to be a starting point for discussion, to then consider whether we'd like it to go into rules and law, as opposed to starting at rules and law. That just seems to make sense.
That's a thought.
Well,
Yeah.
I disagree respectfully. I was also on the ARB for a while, and, when I've done it's been a while, some extensive reading about those parks being considered landmarks. And I think it's a glaring error that is an omission. And I haven't read it again to see specifically what it says. I can do that. I'm willing to do that and make a suggestion as to what I think. So I can do that.
Sure, okay, yeah, sounds great. Okay, let's agree just to do that then for now.
So I'll look
Okay.
at it and
Okay.
I'll see what it says and.
Seems like Ed should also be, when the time
Well,
comes.
he'll be
Well,
involved
no,
at some
I mean,
point.
it's- whether it should be, this is just a overall view of whether I think it should be admitted to rules and law. I mean, obviously, we can amend our own.
Oh, yeah,
code.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Can I make one more comment about that? Because
Quickly, please.
I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
when you think about the Architectural Review Board, you know, they're preserving Mariemont, but also Mariemont Preservation Foundation, which I talked with members,
Mhm.
and I knew more about the project than they did, and also, they are holding, basically, the response, and when I asked what their input was that they were the purse, so they're holding the funding for the project, which seems like a conflict of interest, like how are they supposed to preserve the park if they're the ones that the money's going through?
Well,
I
that-
understand it's not in their control,
Be-
but still, so.
Being a trustee of MPF, the reason the money is being held isn't because we're in favor of this, that, or the other, but you can make tax-free donations, and that was a home of the Centennial Fund, which includes the the cover for but the point is that if people have donated money and said, we'd like this to go to Dogwood Park, it isn't for the necklace, it is for the project as a whole. And for example, on the land and water grant, correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, you needed a match of $150,000, which came from the Thomas Emery Foundation, and MPF is holding that.
Well, MPF is a 501(c)(3) for
Yeah.
this
Right.
project, they're holding
Well,
all of
I
it.
understand that, but
But-
like, they don't feel comfortable speaking out against the project when they're.
I wouldn't say,
holding funds. So that's.
I don't
that's what
believe that to be the fact.
That's what members have told me, so that, anyway.
But some people may feel that. We're a diverse group.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move along here on this.
Pay the bills.
It's okay. Where was I?
Motion second.
Any question regarding the bills?
No.
Pay 'em.
Pay them? Other than that?
Is that a
comment?
motion?
Can we pay them?
Motion and a second then, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, let's pay some bills. Looks like we have two committee reports, starting with Randy. Mr. York.
The Health and Recreation Committee met on Monday, June 29th at Patriot Park. Present at the meeting were Health and Recreation Committee members Randy York, Matthew Ayer, also in attendance were Mayor Bill Brown, Maintenance Supervisor Ben James, Zoning Officer Rod Holloway, and 20 area residents. The purpose of the committee meeting was to propose volunteer-driven updates to Patriot Park. On Friday, June 19th, Randy York, Ben James, Rod Holloway, and Steve Pipkin of the Mariemont Park Board and Tree Board surveyed Patriot Park to develop a plan for cost-effective and volunteer-driven improvements that will be executed at Patriot Park on a volunteer day to be scheduled on Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. This exercise was prompted by the planned repaving of Patriot Lane. The Health and Recreation Committee reviewed the proposed updates to Patriot Park and requested and noted area resident input on each project. Listed below are the proposed upgrades and near consensus recommendation of the area residents. Asphalt pad. The asphalt pad is used by area residents and they want to keep it. They requested that the pad be repaved. Engineer Ertl estimates that the overlay of the area with 2 inches of asphalt would cost approximately $2,100. Honeysuckle. The residents want the honeysuckle to remain so it will not be removed. The residents also requested the ivy around the pine tree should be removed and replaced with pine straw. The sign in the middle of the park should be removed. 2 additional park benches should be added. one at the asphalt pad and one at the west end of the park. The trash can will remain. A doggy bag dispenser would be added. The Arbor Day tree that's in the middle of the field would be evaluated for potential relocation to the perimeter of the park, and 4 to 6 trees would be added around the perimeter of the park based upon input from the Tree Advisory Board and the Park Board. In addition, 5 distressed trees and shrubs were identified for removal. These have been designated with a pink ribbon that you guys have seen. Other trees in the park will be evaluated for possible removal only if necessary and limbed up, crowning, cleaning, lifting. John Swisher agreed to take the lead on the repairs and reconditioning of the Tyler Swisher Monument, including the flagpole pad and lighting. And additional memorials being proposed, but would need to be reviewed by council. The residents also expressed frustration with the ongoing damage to the park from the Rumpke trucks, and the committee requests that the mayor assign this issue to the Public Works Committee. The Health and Recreation Committee recommends that the necessary funds be approved and allocated for Patriot Park. This includes asphalt overlay, tree crowning, cleaning, lifting, and the potential removal by a third party, and the procurement of 6 additional trees that will be planted in the fall by volunteers. The projected cost to the village is estimated at $7,000, with all the upgrades executed by volunteers under the direction of the maintenance department. Meeting adjourned at 7:30. Respectfully submitted, Matthew Ayer and Randy York.
Okay, you've heard the reports. Any comments?
Randy, refresh my memory. What did $7,000 cover?
That was 6 trees and $2,100.
So it would need to be more now.
Yeah, just for those here, when we met earlier, I think you alluded to this. Is it better to grind it out and redo it rather than put a Band-Aid on it?
The picnic pad.
The picnic
pad,
pad. So
yeah.
I think the mayor suggested, and I think most council agrees that for an additional $2,000, it probably makes sense to do that. So this, if that's what this body wants to do, this report would need to be amended.
Would this be 2024 money?
Mm-hmm.
The pad
Okay.
would be, and the trees would be when?
This fall, hopefully.
Is this in addition to the 20,000?
Yeah, is that 7,000 coming out of the 20,000 of the tree budget?
These are park trees, yeah.
Is it part, yes, it's park trees.
So, I have a question. I mean, I'm looking at the health and recreation, and I don't see Patriots Park as one of the items.
It was added last week on 6/20. I didn't look at this one.
I can't recall that, but that's.
Yeah, it's just added here at the end.
Okay, thank you.
So you're saying.
Question,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob.
No, I just wanted to clarify, so if we wanted to modify the report based on what we said earlier, we'd have to add $2,000 more to this
Yeah,
versus the 7.
2,000, yeah.
Do we actually have an estimate, though, for the trees? I mean, how do we know the trees are gonna cost that much?
I think we based it on $300 to $500 for each tree.
We're talking about the new trees or taking out the old trees?
Just the new trees.
We can get done for $300 to $400, I guess.
That-
Can't really say, but.
And that includes the planting? Steve, that includes the planting as well?
Well, and so what are we up to? We're not up to anywhere near the 7,000.
No.
Oh, the volunteers planted them? No, they're gonna be planted later, because that's too early in the season to plant trees.
Oh, the September 11th date?
Too early.
Mhm.
No, it wouldn't be during that. It would have to be later.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, I think I included some crowning in this.
Tree work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but again, you also had the 2,100 for the, does the 7,000 include the 2,100 for the
Yes.
picnic pad?
Yeah,
So that we do need to bump up by $2,000 to line up with what Chris had mentioned about take it out and redo it properly so it
Correct.
has a longer life. So it does change from 7,000 to 9,000.
Correct.
Well, assuming that you're gonna spend 7 on trees, which we kinda don't have.
No, well, the 7 is,
I mean, the 5, you're gonna spend 5.
yeah, And then that's a combination of the,
Maybe it is. I mean, trees are, I don't know, trees are, the tree work and planting, I guess.
I don't mean to be jumping ahead, but my understanding is the 20K was a replacement of trees that had died this past season and had to be removed.
But those are street trees.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know, I'll ask Kelly, is there any money for park trees? Or doesn't it distinguish between park and street trees?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, so the monies that Kelly was talking about before, or the funding, is in that one fund, and there's 20,000 or so there.
20,600.
And the point is that, is the tree advisory board comfortable, because they came into my committee meeting and asked for, answering Rob's question, to ask for 20,000 this year. Now there's another 700 or so.
You mean 5,000 or 7,000?
Yeah.
No, again, let's separate the trees from the crowning and the other stuff, right?
Well, I am, but there are new trees for Patriot Park.
Right,
And
right,
I'm
but it's
just
not, it's not 5,000 though. Again, what I heard Steve say is it's usually like 300 to 400 per tree times 6 trees is 1,800 to.
Well, I think he's assuming volunteer planting, though.
That's what this said in the report, was volunteer planting, right? That's what the
You're right,
report says.
yeah.
And who's gonna be taking
All right.
care of the trees after they're planted?
Steve.
You.
But
Hey, you
my
are-
only comment, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if we go, there's a fund now with,
Is it gonna come out of it?
Yeah, it has to. So I agree with you, Bob. I think I agree with what you're saying. There's 20,600 that they can spend on trees this year. This has got to come out of that 20,600. That's part of the total
and is the
spending.
tree advisory board comfortable with that? Because they asked specifically, I thought the response to you in the committee meeting was to replace trees that we had lost in 2024. I'm just trying to make sure that we're,
This is just a process question. You said it has to come out of that fund. Why does it have to?
Because we want to keep track of tree spending in one
Sure.
place. Because if you have it in all these different budgets, then you can't say, how much did we spend in total
Right.
for this year?
So you can't move money into that,
You could.
okay,
You can change the amount, but it just needs to come out of that line.
understood, okay.
Could you have a line item, park trees versus street trees? Does that make sense? Because, I'm just
Sure.
asking, because, the tree board has a, jurisdiction or advisory capacity, not jurisdiction, over street trees, not park trees. Park trees are different.
We can have different account, different
Yeah.
monikers on the account.
I'm just
The
asking if
question
that makes
is how
sense.
much you put in each one. I
I
mean,
know.
you designate it.
I
where
see
you
your point.
designate it.
Yeah, 'cause you start
My
to-
point is tangential, I will grant you that, okay?
Well,
but-
I don't think.
I just also, when you start to break down to really finite, you're saying, oh, well, I ran out of money here, but I have enough money there, so where do I think it's good to just say trees. We have this much for trees.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done
Yeah.
tree purchase versus tree maintenance.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, another point to this, with Steve here, and, if we can get 6 trees planted, even at his high estimate of $400, because we're having, volunteers plant those, and Paul, you could probably speak to this. I would imagine Steve will get help from people who live around Patriots Park too, as far as what's needed to help plant the trees with the supervision of tree planting experts. But, I mean, I think we have a tremendous opportunity here to get 6 trees planted for as little as $2,400 with all this volunteer assistance. Patriot Park is clearly an important park. Its use is kind of unquestionable, and it's one of those rare cases where there's unanimity among the residents. This is what we want. So, I mean, I would propose that $2,400 is not chump change. I mean, I don't have $2,400 to donate to the project tonight, but it's almost de minimis in our overall budget. So, I mean, I would propose that we go ahead and add $2,400 for 6 trees for Patriots Park, plus the $4,000 to redo
the pad, the
to
pit,
redo
yeah.
the pad, and let's just go for it. That's a
So,
motion.
You want to amend, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to speak, but I'm going to.
So is that a?
Well, but that
So
doesn't
you're
end
saying
up
the
at
projected-
7,000.
you
There's,
projected- you shouldn't-
It doesn't include the crowning, which we don't have an estimate for, and Ben will need to have, it'll have to be evaluated and get an estimate.
Is the pad permanent improvement?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that allocated for in our budget this year?
No, but it was not built in the original budget, and that'll have to go through this prioritization process we just went through. So next council meeting, we'll find out where it
Right,
stands.
but with the catch is that when Muir is out there, part of that $4,000 and why it's so reasonable to do that is when they're out there and Kelly figures out how to get the money to come in. When Muir is out there and they're mobilized and they got the asphalt truck, that's when we're
Oh,
that's
you
when we're
have to
gonna.
do it then, yeah.
We've gotta do it then, so they've all gotta be connected.
But I agree with everything you just said. I'm just trying to look at the logistics, and with this funding accounting thing, because that is not a street.
Right, no,
No,
that's why it's in the
that's
permanent
why
improvement
that's
fund.
why it's in permanent improvement, it's not in streets.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we moved it a separate line item, because it's not a street.
Let me ask Chris a question. How long, if we say we're gonna do the $4,100, or, yeah, $4,100, would that have to go out for bid?
No.
It's less than 5.
Okay, well, I'm good.
It's an add-on to the existing contract?
50.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a clarification, though? I mean, I think we should move forward regardless, but. I mean, is health and rec, I mean, I'm part of that, I wasn't able to make this meeting, but is it recommending that these funds come out of the tree planting fund? Because I'm not clear on that. One, the tree board came and said they wanted a lot more, but could handle 20,000 to start off with. So to take that fund and put it towards park trees, which to me, I am in complete agreement with you, is a very different tree than the street tree, and probably should be distinguished with an account. It can all roll up, right, to trees, but with a different account or number. That, I just want clarification on that, because I would be, and I don't know, where the cost would come from, but can we move funds over in addition to those 20,000, to that 20,000?
At what point do we get to overkill on creating all these accounts? I mean, traceability is one thing, but if we make a separate account name for every single thing that happens,
Agreed.
we're gonna just inundate ourselves with information and nobody's gonna know it. So,
I do.
I
Agreed.
understand your point, but I would, recommend against it.
Okay, so then the second, to me, the most material question is, are we supporting the funds allocated for street trees be utilized for this park? Or are we saying we will take funds elsewhere and move that to that?
And you don't actually, so, sorry, Kelly, but.
No, that's fine, because that's your, that's
Yeah,
your
you
question
don't-
to
you don't
answer,
have
not mine.
Because it's out of the general fund, so you can just appropriate more money to the
Appropriate
service
more, yeah.
department. So you don't have to take money from something else within the general fund to do that.
Fair enough. So the general, well, we appropriate from the general fund to this fund. So is that the recommendation versus taking it out of the tree fund?
You're asking Randy a question?
So we would ask for a $2,500 incremental appropriation for trees into the tree fund for Patriot Park.
Thank you.
That's step one.
Not taking it out of the 20,600.
Thank you.
So, and I'll send you this. So then we've got to decide, now this pad, I've got 7,000 total on here, so, that's not enough. If
For-
we-
you're
if
talking
we're-
about
if
for
we're
the pad.
upgrading to a full,
Asphalt.
3-inch, 6-inch pad, whatever, so that's $4,000. So, again, if we do not need to account for the tree work in this committee report, 7,000's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we don't need to account for the crowning and removal,
And
which we
removal.
don't know, we don't know what we can remove, what volunteers can do, and what
Service
Ben can
department
do,
is
and what
in.
the third party will have to
Yeah.
do.
Sort of,
So if we don't account for this, then we don't have to change this report, $7,000 is enough. And we could put the next, you know, the necessary spending request and
Yep.
have you update the contract, if
Yeah.
if
But
we're
the
all
thing-
agreeable to that.
I agree, but the thing will be, the permanent improvement fund needs to wait until we get through the next meeting, we do the prioritization, right? So we're not saying yes
No.
right now.
You're saying
but-
yes, kind of?
Kind
Kind of, yeah. You
We're
were
not
saying,
sa-
hey, you know, this is, but we need to go through the prioritization to see where that shakes out.
Mom said no, Randy, go ask
Can
Dad.
I ask for a clarification here? This says Dogwood Park Centennial Rehabilitation Plans / Patriot Park. So is this permanent improvement of the pad covered by Dogwood? So
No,
this is-
I can't tell you why it ended up on that same line.
Okay, and then, so this is a totally new permanent improvement expenditure.
It was in the list that we just reviewed.
Yeah, I remember it was in the list.
But
that
it
we
was
reviewed.
new. It
But
was
it's,
new.
but it's
It-
new.
Completely new.
Yeah.
And as I recall, when we went through the permanent improvement process, and you may have sent them, I've been on vacation, but there were some numbers that Ben had left out. And
They're
I
in
get,
there now.
okay, I guess I would want to see where we are with
Sure.
everything. It's not that I don't want to do it, I mean, but I have to look at everything that we've listed, we said we would do, and now we're adding something just onto this year. So I have to evaluate it holistically.
Right, and that'll be at the
But
next
I'm
meeting.
for the project. I'm the one who suggested doing it right and doubling the cost. So,
That'll be at the next meeting.
okay.
Yeah, and I will this is unusual, because because Patriots Lane wasn't even on our list, and then we did the evaluation, it says, yeah, it needs to get done, and then Matt and I just talked about it, and Rod talked about it, says, hey, if we got the trucks there, let's redo this part while we're doing it, so it was not talked about in January, it was late.
Let's be clear about Patriots Lane. Based on the input I've received from Kelly, it is highly unlikely that that will be paved in 2024.
I met with Kelly on Sunday. I'm not sure if that's true.
And I don't know if.
Yeah, we don't know.
Conversation for this meeting.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not on the agenda, but
That
we
doesn't
can
matter.
have a conversation.
But I just wanted to point out, I think it's when Muir's in the village with asphalt trucks, not when it's doing Patriots. I don't want to mislead the people around Patriots Lane that it's going to be repaved in the, because right now I can't see clear to I'd love for it to happen this year. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay,
That's where I was
somebody make a
confused too, 'cause
motion.
he kept talking about
So
adding
with
the contract.
respect to
What
the
contract?
committee report, by accepting the report, we're not approving the expenditure of $7,000. So is that correct, or, you tell me, I'm not sure.
Well, I think there's a couple, I mean, I would like this report is recommending a full replacement of the
Pad.
the picnic pad, or, yeah. So
Well, no, it's not actually, I mean, this report, his report,
It doesn't.
it doesn't. Yeah, that's why I was pausing for a minute. This
Yeah.
includes asphalt overlay, not a, okay. Yet,
The language says approved and allocated for Patriot Park. There's no timetable associated with this, so we could approve this pending the outcome of our priority setting meeting.
Or would it make sense to table the report
Table
until
the
after we
report
go
till
through our
next
prioritization meeting,
and then amend it.
and then amend it accordingly?
yeah.
I have one other point on the report. Have the residents of around Patriot Park called the administrative office about the Rumpke trucks?
I believe based on the meeting at the park, the resident that was probably the most vocal said she has.
Have you heard anything about that,
But
Joni?
I can't tell you if that's true or not, that's just what I recall at the meeting.
I mean, they can, but most, from now, the complaints go directly to Rumpke.
I'm just saying, why do we have to have it taken to a committee? Could Joni and Allison communicate that to Rumpke to see if we can get a result?
Well, either that or it's already being directly communicated to Rumpke. Like I said, most Rumpke complaint calls go straight to Rumpke.
Right. It indicates that when you call here.
When you call here, so I'm not really sure, I don't know how big the problem is, I don't know whether this warrants an assignment to a committee.
That's what point I was making.
For additional calls, I mean, you guys got complaints about Rumpke, you and whoever else keep calling Rumpke. And if it's not remedied at some point, then we'll have to revisit the issue.
Bob, I think, and I don't want to extend this, keep this meeting going too much longer, but I think one of the issues with respect to Patriots Park is, and I hope Chris gets a chance to look at that, is that when Rumpke comes, they have two types of trucks. They've got I'll call it their mini garbage truck that they use on the lanes to get around there, and then when they pick up the recycling, that truck is larger, and I haven't watched the truck, but it puts ruts in as it turns the turns on Patriots. So the question is, do we need a better driver, or do we need a larger radius of blacktop, or do we need some other improvement so that it doesn't tear the park up when the truck comes through there? So that's kind of what the question is about it. It's not, it's more than just a complaint about the recycling truck especially, yeah.
So your suggestion then would be, in order to.
My suggestion would be for Chris to go look at it and make a recommendation before it goes to committee. That's what I would suggest.
Because Chris has nothing else on his
Yeah.
plate.
Well, you're gonna be over there anyway, looking at the pad. You know, you can't look at a picture, you gotta look at the pad, you gotta stand there. Okay.
It'd be best if you could drive a Rumpke truck.
I don't know what we're doing. We're gonna be all night. All right, so are we gonna table this?
Yes,
Are we
I would,
past-
I would, I
Okay,
move that we
motion,
table
please.
this.
Make a
Second.
motion.
Move to table the report, second.
Okay. Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. Now, Mr. Van Stone, it's to your report.
This is the Public Works and Service Committee report. The Public Works and Service Committee met on July 24th, 2024 at 3:55 PM. In attendance were Committee Chairperson Bob Van Stone, committee members Randy York, Rob Bartlett, Mayor Brown, Supervisor Ben James, and many members of the Tree Advisory Board, TAB, including Kristen Van Scoy, Mary Beth York, Barb Whitaker, and Dr. Marcy Lewis. The focus of the meeting was on the proposed budget by the Tree Advisory Board, which totaled $117,500. Although this cost varies somewhat year to year, this is a reasonable estimate of the proposed annual budget for the next 6 years. The objectives of the meeting were to identify how much of this proposal was in the existing village budget and how much was a new expenditure. This occurred with an open discussion between the committee members and members of the Tree Advisory Board. Elements of the proposed budget are: 1, new tree planting, $38,500. This cost would be for planting approximately 17 sustainable trees by a nursery each year. There would be no additional cost to the village. The 2024 permanent improvement budget is budgeted $10,000 for tree planting. Starting in 2025, the permanent improvement budget, tree planting budget, is $38,500, an increase of $28,500 over the 2024 budget. Item 2, annual district-wide crown cleaning and lifting, $28,000. This work would be performed by an outside contractor and is a new expense for the village. Item 3, safety/storm pruning and tree removals, $51,000. Some of this expense is already in the service department budget. Mr. Bartlett reported that 2022, the village spent $54,866, and in 2023, that expense was $43,870 on this type of work. This averages to $49,368, so an additional $1,632 would be necessary for this effort. The following table summarizes these numbers. Based on these estimates, an additional $58,500 would we need to add to the budget, village budget, starting in 2025. However, since $38,500 is provided for tree planting in the 5-year plan, the increase funding, 5-year plan for this period, the increased funding not already planned is $29,632. We then have a table which shows the total annual budget of the Tree Advisory Board is the $117,500. In the 2024 budget is $59,368. Additional budget needed starting in 2025 is $58,132. Funding in the 5-year plan is $87,868. So the currently unfunded is $29,632. Mr. Van Stone pointed out if the TAB plan were spread over 8 years instead of 6, the total cost could be reduced by the total cost would not be reduced, but the annual expenses would be reduced by 25%. Mrs. Van Scoy cited a report from ODNR which recommended crown cleaning and lifting every 5 years, and thus a 6-year proposal is already stretching that time frame. The issue is left unresolved. Ben James was questioned about the potential need for more workforce hours from the service department. He said that it was not clear if we would need more workforce hours as long as the TAB maintains its current level of volunteer activity. Currently, the TAB uses service department equipment to water the trees for the trees after planting. It takes 5 hours to water 50 trees each week, and based on the current TAB plan, 140-hour trees will be needed to be watered each year. A concern was expressed about the mulching of up to 420 trees after the 6-year program is completed. Mrs. Van Scoy said that over time, implementing district-wide crowning and cleaning may reduce the amount of money the service department needs to maintain trees in the village. Mayor Brown raised the issue of the complicated application process for individuals who wanted to plant a tree in the right-of-way ahead of the district schedule proposed by the TAB. Members of the TAB said the proposed master plan was still a draft and this issue could be worked. Mr. Van Stone asked how the records and documents of the trees would be maintained in the future. Mr. York said he has seen the very sophisticated spreadsheets currently maintained by the TAB. Mr. Bartlett asked Mrs. Van Scoy what was the minimum funding the TAB needs for the remainder of this fall's planning. Ms. Van Scoy said that they would need a total of $20,000 in order to replace the 35 trees typically needed to be removed each year, which is $10,000 more than budgeted in the Permanent Improvement Fund for 2024. Mr. York moved that $10,000 be added to the 2024 Permanent Improvement budget. All committee members agreed. Mrs. Lewis noted that however the village council decides to fund this type of tree initiative, the funding needs to be more than $10,000 permanently in the budget. The meeting was adjourned at 4:05.
Could that possibly be the?
Is that the
New
sound
record.
copy?
Don't give me any more grief.
Good report there, Bob. Little lengthy, but.
3-pager.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Wow.
You know, it's
I know a lot of
okay,
information.
and let me just say, we've had new information since then that the $20,000 we talked about here is gonna come out of that tree planting fund
In the general fund.
in the general fund.
Okay.
So we don't need to adjust anything in the permanent improvement fund. So do I need to amend, do we need to amend the report to say?
No, I think we just need to set it completely aside, and we'll reread the whole
Yeah, I don't
thing
think
next
there's
week.
anything actionable here. Yeah.
Twice.
Maybe just, that's how we start every council meeting.
Yeah, why not?
Table, table,
dramatic reading?
table.
Okay, are we amending this, or what are we, I don't even know what we're doing
No,
anymore.
we just need a motion and a second, please.
We need, okay,
Please.
we need a vote to accept.
Yeah, whatever.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Well, this does say we're gonna add 10,000 to the permanent improvement budget. We're not doing that. We need to amend the report.
Okay.
It's, we're not doing that. That's second, that statement. Just say, it's already covered, to Bob, what Bob said, it's already covered within the service department's.
Can we make that amendment to that report right now as
Yes.
part of this
Yeah, yeah.
meeting?
Right, yeah.
Let's just make that change, that one amendment, and approve the report as amended to move that money
Yep.
to the,
So
No,
we're just
there's no
gonna say
movement.
that
We don't have to do anything.
the 20,000 is coming from the,
Tree fund.
general fund, tree planting fund.
yep, so we approve that report as amended.
okay, so that's the new motion, second, please.
Second.
Mr. Air.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Vanstone.
Aye.
And Mr. York.
Aye.
Does this stay on the agenda or may it come off? Does this stay on the agenda or does it come off?
We still need to talk about 2025.
Yeah, we got to.
All right.
But not now.
Right. No.
All right, moving
Nobody
along,
discussed.
moving along, and miscellaneous, village offices will be closed Monday, September the 2nd, 2024, in observance of Labor Day. All right, we have two resolutions. These are going to be emergencies. I'm going to do all that I can to get through this. Go.
We need those. Okay. It's the first reading. Resolution authorizing the donation of a police vehicle that is unneeded, obsolete, and/or unfit for municipal purposes to the Elmwood Police Department, and authorizing the mayor of the Village of Mariemont to enter into any or more agreements with the Elmwood Police Department to memorialize what is that, I don't know what that word is.
What is?
Alia?
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 Inter
Alia?
Inter alia? Okay, that word.
Making stuff up.
The donation of the police vehicle in its current as-is, whereas with all faults condition, and to ensure the Elmwood Police Department removes all decals and police markings from the vehicle, and to declare emergency.
All right, we've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Air.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Vanstone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Second reading, please.
Resolution authorizing the donation of a police vehicle that is unneeded, obsolete, and/or unfit for municipal purposes to the Elmwood Police Department, and authorizing the mayor of the Village of Mariemont to enter into any or more agreements with the Elmwood Police Department to memorialize inter alia the donation of the police vehicle in its current as-is, whereas with all faults condition, and to ensure that Elmwood Police Department removes all decals and police markings from the village, and to declare emergency.
All right, this is the second reading. And any discussion, any questions?
So how do we know it's 500 or less?
Go look at it.
Pardon?
Okay, done.
I didn't hear the
I'll
question.
take that as the
The
answer.
value.
Is it-
It's 500 less.
How do we know it's,
Yeah, go look at it.
It's, yeah, it's,
I don't think you
needs
can
some
even
love.
drive it.
It needs some love, but, out of the Chiefs Association, there was a desperate request from the Elmwood Police Department because they have not a very good budget there, and, they had a car that went, it's unrepairable, and so they're in desperate need of something to put their officers in. That car needs some love, like you said, go look at it, but they have a, auto repair shop in the village there that will help them out with making some repairs so that it will help them in the short term until they can, find a way to get another car. I think it's just a good thing that we can do to help another municipality that, you know, thank God we're not in the situation that they're in.
Are we gonna sell the second one then? The other one?
The other car,
The other
the
surplus.
old fire car, because we're gonna transfer the other police car over to the fire department. so.
Yeah, but we had 2 surplus, right? So we're donating one, we're gonna try and sell the
We're
other
gonna
one?
sell the other.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's a little bit newer and probably worth more money.
It's not
Not a lot, but
but
yeah.
yeah.
something. All right, any other, all right, may we have the third reading?
You're welcome.
Resolution authorizing the donation of a police vehicle that is unneeded, obsolete, and/or unfit for municipal purposes to the Elmwood Police Department, and authorizing the mayor of the Village of Mariemont to enter into any or more agreements with the Elmwood Police Department to memorialize inter alia the donation of the police vehicle in its current as-is, where-is, with all faults condition, and to ensure the Elmwood Police Department removes all decals and police markings from the vehicle and to declare emergency.
Motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause,
So moved.
please.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I'm going too fast.
You are.
Dr. Lewis.
A little slow.
Mr. Van Stone. Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, one more.
All right, this is a first reading, resolution approving interfund and advance of funds from the general fund to other fund categories and to declare emergency.
All right, you've heard the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second, third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York. May
Aye.
we have the second reading, please?
Resolution approving interfund advance of funds from the general fund to other fund categories and to declare emergency.
Okay, I'm praying that everyone knows what this is. We don't need any discussion.
Connector.
Connector?
Is that what it is for?
Yes.
We all good?
Yes.
Good, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right, may we have the third reading, please?
Resolution approving interfund advance of funds from the general fund to other fund categories and to declare emergency.
Motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
What's the matter? Am I going too fast?
You're
Mr.
good.
York.
Aye.
That one.
All right, folks, we are not entertaining anything else. We're adjourned. Oh.
That was directed
All right.
Thank you
In case you didn't
for
notice.
letting me